and go.
Welcome and thanks for joining us today. My name is Node Smith, the Naturopathic Doctor from Saskatchewan, Canada, and the Continuing Education Director and Associate Editor for NDNR. And we are so excited to deliver a webinar with Bret Gregory today. I've had the opportunity of chit-chatting with Bret over the last few days and weeks, and quite an incredible story. For 20 years, Bret worked in corporate financial advisory. He grew a successful corporate retirement plan consulting agency from scratch to over $100 million under management between 1996 and 2006. And then in 2006, his brother, who was 34, lost his life to lung cancer. And Bret decided that he would move to Costa Rica and buy a 164-acre ocean view property and turn it into an eco-friendly wellness community. Just such a wonderful story. That in and of itself is great. But then in 2008, the global financial crisis almost cost Bret this entire property down in Costa Rica and left him with a $1 million debt payment to be paid in 1 year. And traditional marketing techniques to find clients and customers had stopped working. And Bret started to get really creative. And this webinar is going to be a lot about what he learned in that year-long process, how to find high-paying clients and using strategic media buying, sponsoring events, speaking from stage, all supported by a social and retargeting campaigns. In that 1 year period of time, he generated over 2,400 leads that led to $1.5 million in sales. He kept his property in Costa Rica, and he's here today to talk with us about how doctors and healthcare practitioners can thrive and grow their businesses online by attracting high-end virtual health coaching clients. Super excited. Thank you so much, Bret. I'm going to turn the floor over to you.
Hey, thank you so much, Node. And it's just a real honor and a pleasure to be here. And today I'm going to share with you some of the secrets on how you can find high-paying health coaching clients now. Let's make sure that we share the right part of the screen here. Tell me what you can see on the screen, please.
We can see you on the right side, and then we can see your slide presentations on the left side with a clock.
Okay, so we're on the wrong screen. There we go. How's that?
Yeah, perfect.
Okay, good. All right, fantastic. So we're going to teach you today about where to find high-paying health coaching clients right now so that you can book yourself on stages, you can fill your webinars in front of high-paying health coaching prospects right now. And what you're going to discover on this training, as I said, where to find those high-paying health coaching clients now so that you can fill your own high-end online health coaching program. Of course, when you go online, that gives you all of the freedom to live and work from anywhere, so you don't have to be chained to one location. I'm going to teach you the best events to sponsor, speak, and exhibit at to find those high-paying health coaching clients and make sales quickly. I'm going to show you how to fill a webinar with high-paying health coaching clients, and I'm going to show you how to collect hot high-paying health coaching client leads. And as we do that, I'm going to show you how then to convert those leads into high-paying customers. And then for those of you who want to learn more, I'll give you a way to schedule a consultation with me for free. So just a little bit about me for those of you who I have not yet had the pleasure of meeting. This is a picture of me a little more than a decade ago now. And a lot of people who meet me now don't even recognize me when they see this picture as a suit and tie guy. And I was a suit and tie guy. I worked 100 hours a week. I had a corporate finance career and a successful financial advisory firm that I started from scratch, grew to $100 million under management. By all objective measures, I was really successful. We made a lot of money for our clients. We made a lot of money for ourselves, but my whole life was about making money. And that's really where it stopped. And then I had an event that really changed my life forever. My 34-year-old brother, Eric, was diagnosed with stage 4 non-small cell carcinoma. He was given 9 months to live, and he actually passed away peacefully in our Father's arms about 9 months later. And that event changed my life forever. I said, what am I doing in this soul-sucking career, just focused all on making money? I want to help people. I want to make a difference in people's lives. And I want to, help my brother's legacy. I want to take something really terrible and turn it into something really amazing and help as many people as I could. So I cast off my suit and tie. I sold my successful financial advisory business that I started from scratch. I had a couple $1 million. I moved down to Costa Rica and I bought a $3 million property with $2 million down. We've got whitewater ocean views. We've got waterfalls on the property, and we're right across the street from Costa Rica's newest hospital. And I took this millions that I had from the proceeds of the sales of my business, and I invested in design and marketing and architecture and engineering. I hired the foremost sacred geometry architects in the world. They happen to be out of Mexico. We created designs for healing, eco-friendly habitats. We wanted to build these energetic nurturing spaces and these healing living spaces. And this is my website, CostaRicaWellness.com. And so I really put in a lot of energy and time and money, and my whole life, really was invested into creating a place where people could come to, fly down to Costa Rica and heal themselves from within to the best of their body's abilities for anybody who wanted to try that. So I purchased this property, $3 million property with $2 million down in 2007. Do you remember what happened in 2008? The global financial crisis. And everything that I tried to do did not work in terms of marketing and sales, trying to get people to invest in a eco-friendly wellness community in Costa Rica in 2008 and 2009. It just wasn't happening. So I was really worried, because if I had exactly 12 months to come up with $1 million, or I was going to lose the $2 million that I put in. I was going to lose absolutely everything that I had worked so hard for. And so then one of my wife's friends, his name is Eben Pagan. He's become a friend and a mentor of mine. He has generated over $150 million in online information product sales. And I went to one of his marketing events. I took some classes from him, and I asked him about, how do I find people who are going to invest $150,000 to $300,000? Or said another way, how do I find high-paying customers for my wellness community in Costa Rica? And he said, well, do you have a lead magnet? How are you going to find these high-paying customers? I need to get qualified leads and prospects to buy a $150,000 property, and I need to know where to find my high-paying customers. And he said, well, you got to have a lead magnet. And at the time, I didn't even know what that was. And so he told me, you need to solve your high-paying clients' number one problem and put it in a PDF or some kind of a free gift and give it away to them for free. So I said, well, I know what my high-paying customers' big problem is. Their big problem is they don't know if the real estate that they're buying in Costa Rica is, they don't know if they're going to get ripped off, because there's no MLS in Costa Rica. There's no multiple listing service. So there's no way to look up how much did a comparable property sell for, how much did the neighboring property sell for. There's no way to get that information. So I hired a company in San Diego to fly down to Costa Rica and develop a listing. We went and combed over 2,000 different properties, and we got the pricing for the property. So we made a report, which was essentially solving the customer's big problem, letting them know that the correct value of the property. And we just simply gave that away for free. So we solved their big problem.
Now, Bret, can I ask you a quick question?
Absolutely, yes.
Because it seems to me like you solved a problem with your lead magnet that has absolutely nothing to do with healthcare. And is that part of this process? Is that like...
Yeah. Good point. So remember, this was a wellness community real estate development. And so we were the second. I'm going to answer your question here in just a second, actually. So that was a perfect segue to this next part here. The next part was, where do I find my high-paying health coaching clients? And so what I discovered is, because I have a wellness community real estate development, I needed to go to events where doctors were, like A4M. If you've heard of A4M, I needed to sponsor events where I would find doctors and people who are interested in investing in a wellness community. Does that help bridge the gap a little bit?
Yeah.
Okay, so this will all make sense as we go through, because all our clients are doctors, and I'm going to show you, and naturopaths, and I'm going to show you how we actually go about bridging that gap. So I needed to find speaking events where our high-paying customers were. So in my case, back in 2009, it was doctors who were attending events such as A4M or other events like that. And that's where I was able to collect leads from those high-paying customers and subsequently make sales from those high-paying customers. So we created this lead magnet. I found the events. I bought a booth at the events. I gave away my lead magnet for free. I collected the leads, and then subsequently I was able to make sales at the event. So follow along for a moment. I spent about $10,000 a month for 12 months on my marketing. That included buying speaking spots at events, that included buying a booth at an event, that included some online marketing materials. And I got 2,500 leads over 12 months. Now that's, if you do the math, that's $48 per lead. And some people might say, wow, that sounds really expensive. However, when you put that in context, we spent $120,000, and in 12 months, I got $1.5 million back. So we spent $120,000. We got 2,500 leads. From those 2,500 leads, I spoke to a whole lot of people. I got 20 people to fly down to Costa Rica from Europe, Canada, and the United States to look at the property, to invest in the eco-friendly wellness community real estate development. And we did 1.5 million in sales. Spent 120, got 1.5 million back. And that means we made a 1,200% ROI. So does that all make sense?
Yeah, that makes great sense.
Okay. And I'm going to show you how this relates to you who are watching this in just a moment. And one of the very first things that I want to do for you and I want to give you is my number one tool that I used to create those results that I just saw you, that I just have shown you. My marketing calendar is the number one tool that I created that helped me find the right places where the customers are going to be, find the right audience, build the leads, do the right marketing to the right audience so I could find high-paying health coaching clients. And I want to give this tool away from you for free. Now, notice this is my lead magnet that I'm giving to you. So what could your number one problem be? Well, if your number one problem is you don't know where to find high-paying health coaching clients for your business, this is a solution to that particular problem. And I'm going to give it away to you for free. If you go to attractcustomersnow.com/2019 marketing calendar, you can click on that big button down below, and you will get to download my marketing calendar. And what the marketing calendar, so once you click on that button, you'll get to this page, you'll get to download it. It'll ask you to put in your name and information, and then it's going to take you to this page. So it'll say step 1 to access the calendar. It's a Google spreadsheet that's pre-populated with some of the best places that you can find high-paying health coaching clients in 2019. Okay, so the very simple steps you'll follow along. It's a Google spreadsheet. Again, it's pre-populated with all of the places that I know you can find high paying health coaching clients. And when I say places, I mean events that are packed with hundreds, if not thousands, of eager buyers, people who will come to live events, and you can speak on stages, you can sponsor these events, and you can find lots and lots of high paying health coaching clients. It'll give you some very clear direction. Click on the file to make a copy, and then it's yours. Okay, so this is an example, and I want you to just pay attention here. This is an example of how you can create a lead magnet. So I'm creating a lead magnet for you, but put this in, put your thinking cap on what kind of a lead magnet could you create for your clients. We're going to do an exercise in just a little bit that will help you with that. Do you have any specific questions or comments about this node?
Yeah, you know, Bret, what coming up for me is you keep using this term high paying health coaching client. And I know that there are a lot of doctors and a lot of naturopaths watching this webinar, and I was hoping that you could give us maybe a description or an overview of exactly what that is, what a high paying health coaching client would be.
Yeah, 100%. Great question. So for a lot of our clients, I would say a high paying health coaching client would be a client that would pay you at least $12,000. And that could be for a 6 or a 12-month program where you would coach them on improving their health over that time period. So you might have 1 or 2 Zoom calls with that client per month. You might have some specific diet, or you might have some specific tests that you give them in the beginning and throughout. And then you might have some particular regimen that you give your clients. And this would be sold as a package to these clients where they would pay you, again, a minimum of $12,000. But some of our clients are charging $24,000. I even have a client charging $56,000 and getting it, and his calendar is full. He can't even take on more clients. They're charging that kind of money. So when I'm saying high paying clients, that's what I'm referring to. And you deliver your services virtually, like on a Zoom call like we're on right now. Does that make sense?
Yeah, definitely makes sense.
Awesome. Great. So when you go and download this marketing calendar, you're going to see some of the right events for you to speak on. So let me give you an example. One of my clients is Dr. Keisha Ewers. She is an amazing speaker. She's an autoimmune expert, and she is done incredibly well getting herself on stage. And again, that's what part of what the marketing calendar will do for you. It'll help you figure out where and how and what stages to get on. And so this is her speaking at Harvard. This is her speaking at Zymogen conference. And what it turns out is the right events are highly profitable. There's a lot of events that you could speak at where you won't get any customers. But if you speak at the right events, they can be highly, highly profitable, and they are not all created equal. Here's her speaking at a TED conference. For example, TED conferences are great for visibility. They're great if you want to get a whole lot of people seeing you, but you're not going to make any sales at TED conferences because they do not allow that. Alternatively, this is her at another conference where she was selling some of her high-end health coaching services and some of her other high-price programs. And making sure if you get on the right event, if you get to the right event, you can collect a lot of leads from the right kind of customers, and you can make a lot of sales to high-paying health coaching clients. So the first thing that I want to show you is so we talked about getting the right events, but now how do you collect leads at those events? So I talked a little bit earlier about our lead magnet. I showed you the lead magnet that we had in Costa Rica that led to 1.5 million in sales. I gave you my lead magnet, which is a 2019 marketing calendar. But how do you make your own lead magnet that specifically attracts high-paying health coaching clients? You can make a lot of lead magnets that attract broke people. That's not what we're trying to do. So let's first break down how do we get a lead magnet that gets high conversions in the first place. So I got this chart from a friend of mine who initially put this together. And the vertical axis on the top, you can see the words high desire. On the bottom, you see the words low desire. High desire is referring to your customers. If they have a high desire, that means you have solved your high-paying client's number one problem. Live webinars tend to attract those kinds of buyers. So live webinars are really, really good for finding those high-paying clients. Similarly, a spreadsheet download that solves your high-paying client's number one problem. That shows that you have a high desire prospective customer who would opt into that kind of lead magnet and give, in exchange for the lead magnet, they're going to give you their name and email address and even phone number if you ask for it. On the bottom end of the vertical axis is low desire. A lot of people try to grow their list by giving away a free consult. Now, we use free consults all the time, but it's not great for getting a new lead. And the reason why is because people know a free consult is a sales call. So it's important, you don't want to offer a free consult until after you have someone's email address. But if you're just trying to build your list like a lead magnet, then the webinars and the spreadsheet downloads can work very well. Alternatively, on the horizontal axis, on the left-hand side, you can see we have hard to consume, and on the right-hand side, we have easy to consume. So on the left-hand side, when we say hard to consume, what's hard to consume? A white paper that might take hours to read. The video training, you might see some of these popular launches that have 3 45-minute long videos. That might attract high quality, but it's perceived as hard to consume because who has that kind of time? On the right side of the horizontal axis, you see easy to consume. So what's easy to consume? Something that you can download and use instantly, like my marketing calendar. Something that solves your number one problem, you can download and use right away. That is easy to consume. It's instant gratification. You get something of value right away and you get to do something with it. So if you look at this graph, what I want you to focus on is the upper right-hand quadrant. The upper right-hand quadrant is where you have the conversion of both high desire and easy to consume. And what that means, it ends up with high conversions. That means a lot of people who come to that landing page will opt in and will want to consume your, will give you their email address and phone number and name. So anytime, remember, high desire, if you solve your high-paying customer's number one problem, that will be high desire. And if you can do it in a way that's easy to consume, now you really have a lot of leverage. So solve my number one problem with a fill-in-the-blank template. Solve my number one problem with a spreadsheet download or an action checklist or a 60-second plan or top 10 resources or a 7-step formula. If you solve my number one problem with a copy and paste anything or a marketing calendar or top 10 questions or some kind of a planner, you've got my information. I will gladly give you my name and email and phone number if I think your information solves my number one problem and I can download it and use it easily. Any questions on that note? I'm about to show you a couple of examples to get really specific, but do you have any questions on this?
No, I don't think I have any questions about that. Yeah, we want high desirable lead magnets that are easy to consume. They're probably the same things that all of the viewers who are watching this look for already. Like, I'm not going to download something that takes me 3 hours to look through.
Correct.
Yeah, for sure.
Correct. And the real key is if you can solve that customer's number one problem and combine it with something that is easy and quick. So let me give you a couple of examples here. So I mentioned Dr. Keisha earlier. So we went and spoke to her high-paying clients, and we started to figure out what's their big pain point, what's their big problem that they needed to solve. And so she's an autoimmune specialist, and so she came up with the autoimmune blueprint, 10 steps for reversing your inflammation and reclaiming your energy, happiness, and power. So we would do a media spend, and that media spend can mean a lot of different things. That could be Facebook ads, it could be Google ads, it could also be buying an email list, and it could also be having an affiliate advertise for you. But all in all, we spent $5,600, almost $5,700, and we got 578 leads. That's about almost $10 a lead. And I think it's valuable for you as listeners to know what some of the price points people are paying for leads out there, because I think there's a lot of misconception that of leads could be too high cost, or somebody else might get really low cost leads and think that all leads are created equal. They're not. It's really important that you create a lead magnet specifically to attract high paying customers and make it so that they can download it easily. So in this case, we're paying about $10 a lead, and that works great because when she closes one sale, it's a $24,000 high paying health coaching client. So it's highly, highly profitable for us to pay $10 per lead. Here's another example. Here's my client, Dr. William Pollack. Dr. William Pollack is the foremost authority on the pulse electromagnetic field devices, PEMF devices. And he wrote a book called Power Tools for Health. It's actually really doing extremely well on Amazon. And what we decided to do is we found that people who buy his book are they're the high paying clients. They're the best clients. They're the ones that buy the higher priced PEMF devices from his website. So what we did is we put a bonus together that's associated with his book specifically to solve the big problem of his high paying clients. And the big problem was there's a lot of confusion out there on PEMF devices. So he created a video series that goes along with the book and teaches people very simply, spoon-fed in little bite-sized chunks, which PEMF device is right for them. So he solved their big problem. And I know I might sound like a broken record, but I can't overstate how important it is to create a lead magnet that solves your high-paying client's problem. And so we would drive traffic to this. We spent, for example, almost 4,800 on Google ads. And you'll hear me talk about all different ads. I hear a lot of people ask about Facebook ads. Facebook ads they're a very small part of what we do. We want to go where the customers are looking for you. And in this particular case, they were looking for his services on Google. So we created the Google ad spend. We got for $4,800, we got 610 leads. Plus every one of those, that's 610 Amazon book sales that he made in addition to that. We got $7.85 per lead, but he makes more than that on his book sales. So we actually were doing a little bit better than breaking even by selling his books. And what that led to in this one campaign and one promotion, that led to 6 sales of his PEMF devices. Remember, there were 610 leads and 6 sales for $32,562. So I put in a little less than $5,000, got a little more than $32,000 back. Any questions on that?
No.
Okay, so I'm trying to repeat and emphasize the things that are really important. If you can just figure out what your high-paying client's big problem is, and then create a solution for it and give it away for free, you can generate the leads that attract those high-paying clients. So how do we do that for you specifically? So what I did is I created this little exercise that I want you to pull out a pen and paper right now. So let's do this with me here, Node. Pull out a pen and paper, and I want you to follow along with this quick little exercise, and let's come up with a lead magnet title for you in your business. We're gonna do this right now, okay? So in the Dr. Keisha example that I gave you earlier, her lead magnet was specifically, we talked to her high-paying customers. We knew that they had autoimmune issues, and we knew that in order to solve the big problem, they needed to learn a little bit about how reversing inflammation and what are the steps that they need to take to reclaim their energy, happiness, and power. And if we could teach them that and give them a easy to consume PDF, we could convert a lot of those leads into the $24,000 high-paying health coaching clients. So for you, we're going to use this exact same formula. So here's the formula, and it also contains the word formula, but it is the 10-step formula for reversing, and now you see the parentheticals, avoiding pain and doing less of what you don't want, so that, and you get or reclaim what your customers do want. Very simple, fill in the blanks. Okay, so Node, let's do this together so that people can follow along and see how this works. If you could, off the top of your head, could you tell me, and just give it your best shot, what is the big pain that your customers want to avoid, and what is the big benefit that they want?
Say avoiding getting old.
Avoiding getting old, yeah. And then
yep, and like reclaiming their strength or their youth or
okay. Great.
Yep.
And what's the pain that people think if they wanted to avoid getting old? What's the thing that they don't want to do for that? For example, yeah, I've been told I have to work out 3 hours a day and go on a calorie restriction diet for the rest of my life. That sounds hard and painful, and I don't want to do it. So for you, what would be a painful thing that your customers think they need to do to maintain their youth and grow younger?
Yeah, I think that would be it. Yeah, changing their diet. Yeah, changing their diet, working out more.
Yep. Okay. So 10 steps to reverse your age without having to work out 3 hours a day and go on a calorie restriction diet. Okay. For example, 10 steps. It's the 10-step formula for reversing your age without having to work out 3 hours a day, go on a calorie restriction diet, so that you reclaim your youth and vitality. Make sense?
Yeah, sounds good.
Cool. So that's a great placeholder for what your high-end lead magnet should be. And now think about for a moment, who does that attract? Who is that made for? And if the answer to that question is that's made for your high-paying client, you are on the right track. Okay, does that make sense? So,
yeah,
so for those of you watching, do this quick exercise, fill in the blanks, 10-step formula for reversing. What's the thing that they don't want? So in Dr. Keisha's case, it was inflammation and reclaiming your energy. You want to reverse that. For Dr. Node, it's growing older and then reclaiming your youth and vitality, or whatever it is that your customers most want. Okay, so that's how you create a lead magnet. So step one is, how do you get those leads from those high-paying health coaching clients? You got to solve the big problem and give them away something that they can use quickly. Now, step two, how can you get those leads? And so we do a lot of media buying for our doctor clients. So I find a lot of people in our space think very narrowly about media buying in terms of maybe just only Facebook ads, or just essentially think very narrowly about media buying. And what I've discovered is that there are almost a seemingly unlimited number of places where your high-paying clients subscribe to, like email lists and newsletters and conference attendees, where your high-paying clients are, or you could pay a little bit of money to get your message and get your lead magnet in front of those people. So here's an example. If you are, let's use Dr. Node here as an example. If you're trying to find high-paying coaching clients that are really interested in learning more about food and nutrition. So let's say if your practice is built on helping people really change their diet and really learn about the food that they intake. Here's an example. You could purchase a webinar promotion to 70,000 subscribers of Food and Nutrition. Food and Nutrition, the online newsletter. They have 2.6 million social media followers, 75,000 people who get their 2-time per month, their bi-monthly newsletter, and you could buy a promotion to those 70,000 people. And you know, it's got their pricing on the lower right-hand corner, but for somewhere between $2,500 and maybe $5,000, depending on what kind of promotion that you purchase, you can get your webinar or your lead magnet or your information in front of 70,000 subscribers to this publication. So it's really important to know who your customers are. And if your customers, your high-paying customers, subscribe to this particular newsletter, then this might be a great one to buy. Let me give you another example here. Here is my client, Carrie Tepedino. Okay, and I'll give a little plug to NDNR actually. So for you guys have two different publications. It's NDNR and then your naturopath.net. Here's an example. If you have 80,000 subscribers to naturopath.net, you can buy a promotion for $5,000 to get in front of 80,000 people who subscribe to naturopath.net. And so we did that for Carrie Tepedino, who is an amazing mindset and health coach. And she's got a 7-figure online health coaching business, 100% virtual. We put on a live webinar there for $5,000. We got 583 webinar registrants. That's about $8.58 per registrant. And in just 2 weeks, we got $12,000 back. That's, a great return on investment. So not only did we have more than double our investment back, we got an additional 583 really high quality leads. And so again, another little shout out here to NDNR. If you want to get in front of other doctors, you're here, from NDNR. If you want to get in front of other doctors, there's a lot of doctors out there that have business to business type businesses. You could do a media buy to 20,000 doctors. Okay. So here's our client, Dr. Daniel Stickler with Apeiron. They do epigenetics tests, and they help doctors who want to do online health coaching services get customers. We did a $4,000 media spend. We got 506 webinar registrants. That's $7.90 per registrant. And we did 14 sales online in just under 2 weeks. And that ends up being $45,000. So $4,000 advertising spend, $45,000 back. That's an amazing return on investment. Do you have any questions about that node?
No, that sounds pretty straightforward.
So let's recap what we just discovered here. So number one, we talked about where and how to find high-end, high-paying health coaching clients. So remember, I gave you my live event marketing calendar. That marketing calendar is pre-populated with, I believe, 24 live events that you could go out and sponsor right now. And you could speak at those live events in front of hundreds, potentially hundreds of high-paying health coaching clients. You can get a booth where those people will come your way. We taught you how to collect leads, and not just any leads, but high-paying client leads, those health coaching leads, with your high-converting lead magnet. All you got to remember is solve your high-paying client's big problem and give it in a format that they can consume instantly. And then we showed you how to fill your high-end webinar with those high-paying health coaching clients through health client media buying. So those are three really straightforward steps that have worked for hundreds, if not thousands, of naturopaths and health coaches and doctors to get high-paying health coaching clients. So for those of you, if you want to know how do I get started and scale quickly, and a lot of, I usually get asked, how can I get someone to do this for me? I've created a way for you to schedule a free consultation. And by the way, I'm going to show you a cool technique. If you want to get other people to schedule a free consultation with you, remember, don't use your free consultation as a lead magnet. Use it after you've gotten somebody's, maybe after they've watched a webinar like this, or maybe after you've collected their email address. And then you can put the free consultation up because they know you're going to tell them what the price is and how much it costs. And so if you want to go to our website, that's just attractcustomersnow.com. Click on that big orange button below. And here's one more thing that I recommend you do. Hang on just a moment here. Somehow my keynote disappeared. And so let me go back to this. Try this one more time. Okay. Can you still hear me, Node? Are you with me? Oh.
Yeah, we're good.
Okay. Good. I want to make sure you're still there. So hang on just one second. My screen did something funny, sort of spontaneously popped away. So with one of the things that I recommend to you is put how much you charge for your high-end service when somebody schedules the appointment. This is really important and really valuable. So we're a high-end marketing agency. We're a boutique kind of agency just for doctors who have seven-figure practices and want to scale an online business. So we right there, black and white, put how much our agency charges per month. And I recommend if you have a high-end health coaching service, when somebody schedules an appointment with you, make sure they already know how much it is. And the reason why that's so valuable is, think about it. If you're selling a $12,000 or a $24,000 package, somebody schedules the appointment and they see that how much you charge, and then they still schedule the appointment anyway, the conversation about how much it costs is going to go really easy when you're on the phone with them. So I recommend putting how much you charge right there. That's the description of your consultation. Does that make sense, Node?
Yeah, definitely. I love that strategy.
Great. That's my last slide. So again, my name is Bret Gregory, and I am just honored to be here with you. And thank you so much for listening. If you want to get a little bit more information, go to attractcustomersnow.com, click on the button below, schedule a one-on-one consult with me, and I'll be happy to help you. Also, if you're not quite at the $10,000 a month level yet in terms of being able to afford those marketing services, I will be able to point you in the right direction to something that's more affordable for you that will really help you get high-paying health coaching clients. So I can take any questions that you have now, Node, if you have any.
Yeah, Bret, this all sounds very straightforward in terms of, I think most of us are familiar with the need of leveraging marketing, no matter if we, whatever kind of business we're in.
Right.
I'm really interested to know what are some pitfalls and some major obstacles that you see practitioners who might think they want to attract these type of high-paying clients fall into as you're working with them, so that maybe, great.
Yeah, sure. Well, the first question that I get all the time is, will people really pay $24,000 to have me coach them on their health? And the answer is unequivocally yes. There are millions of people just in our country alone here in the US who will gladly pay $24,000 a year, $2,000 a month for your health coaching services. That's number one. Number two, I get asked all the time, people will say, well, what's in somebody's $24,000 or $50,000 health coaching program? What's in their program? That's my single most common question that I get. And what I will tell you is our clients who do health coaching, we don't really use the word program. It's just one-on-one health coaching. Here's the thing. You actually do one-on-one health coaching with your clients right now. You do it every single day. What I'm proposing here is that you should get paid a lot more to work with one person. And that's how you do it, through one-on-one health coaching. So again, I think a mindset shift that people make, if you lose the word program, just think about it. It's just your time as a naturopath, as a doctor. Your time is incredibly valuable. And if you can work with somebody one-on-one for a year, there's a lot of people that would be glad to pay $24,000 just to work with you. Don't think like you have to have some online videos. Don't think you have to have some online packaged program. Don't think you have to have a book. You don't have to have anything. You've got everything that you need right now to get someone to pay you these kinds of fees for your health coaching one-on-one. Does that make sense?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Music to my ears, Bret. I really appreciate you saying that.
Yeah.
I think, naturopaths as a community, a lot of us really exist in a kind of I don't know, like a lack mentality, where we really have a problem asking for high dollar, for really a premium value that a lot of people want.
Yes. Well, and then the part that goes along with that, and the reason why I scrolled backwards through the program, is to come back to my solution to what it is that you need, is the marketing calendar. And so many people, once they may get over the mindset of saying, okay, well, I'll give it a try. I'll see if I can go and get these high paying health coaching clients. Now, where do I go? Well, that's what this is for. So I already made a marketing calendar pre-populated with over 24 different live events. Once you get in, you'll see all the live events. They're highlighted in there. And let me scroll forward after you put in your information. You'll be able to click around in this spreadsheet, and you can make it your own, but you'll be able to click around in the spreadsheet and you'll see event after event after event that could have your high paying health coaching client. Now there's about 24 events in here, but there is a seemingly unlimited number of events if you know how to look for them. And I put this together to help you figure out what are the right events for you, and then how do you plan them out. So this marketing calendar, originally I made one for myself when we were selling $150,000 to $300,000 lots in our wellness community in Costa Rica. I made a calendar, and so once a month I would I either wanted to speak at a live event, or I wanted to do a live webinar to a community of doctors who I think would be interested. So I had about approximately one event per month. Every other month it was live, every other month it was webinars. I did a lot of media buying, and I did a lot of, events where doctors would attend. And in 12 months, we were able to get the leads and make 1.5 million in sales. So you could do the same thing that Dr. Keisha is doing. You could do the same thing that our Dr. Pollock is doing, or Dr. Daniel Stickler, and find where to find these high-paying health coaching clients.
Yeah. So, Bret, you mentioned that there's a seemingly limitless number of speaking events.
Yes.
Could you give us a couple of maybe criteria that you use to develop your 24 or so?
Sure.
And just kind of maybe help us focus in on whether a speaking event that we were considering signing up for could be the right fit, or how to go about finding another one?
It's a fairly straightforward process, and it does include some trial and error. And that last statement is very important to understand, because you might find an event that on the surface looks absolutely perfect, and you pay for the event, you go to the event, and you speak at the event, and when you get there, you find that it was not as advertised, or you thought that you would be filled with high paying health coaching clients, and you found out it was not even close. So that can and likely will happen. But if you know that going in, you plan for it. You don't just do one event and it doesn't work and you quit. That's why the calendar is 12 months, and we try to put it in and pre-plan which events we're going to go to. But to go back to your question, I always start with, who are your high-paying health coaching clients? So let's just do a quick little exercise here. Of all of your clients and patients that you have, who are the ones that pay the most? Describe a few characteristics, and what is the problem that you solve for them?
I mean, all the ones that are really high paying, I guess, would be, they're all affluent.
Yes.
You know, I mean, I know that nobody wants to hear this, but they're all white. Usually women pay a lot more money than men. Mm-hmm. Though if men have impotence problems or low T, or like mm-hmm. they have some type of investment, mm-hmm. then price is usually not an obstacle for them.
Yeah, sure. So this is really easy. So where do you find people that you just described? What events or locations? Well, have you ever looked at an anti-aging conference?
I have not.
There's a good place to start. Have you ever, where do affluent men go? What do affluent men do? They golf. Okay. Have you ever thought about sponsoring a golf pro event? You sponsor a golf pro event, they're filled with affluent men. You get a booth at one of those conferences. You got to have the right lead magnet. You got to have a way to bring them in. They're all over the place. Where are the affluent women? Have you checked out a tennis conference before? Oh. Check it out. They're all over the place. There's no shortage of them. We had one client who worked with affluent men, and we went and looked up in his local area. Now he didn't want to do as much online. He had a clinic, and he wanted more physical in-person type folks. So what we did is we found 7 golf clubs that were within an hour drive of his house, and had his assistant reach out to the general managers and say, hey, we'll pay $2,000 to sponsor a luncheon on a Sunday if you will send that out to your golfers and let us set up. We'll basically buy lunch for everybody. The golf courses love that idea because they want people to come in and spend money, and the doctor then gets a bunch of affluent men come into their talk. I mean, that's it. So this is an example of, I call this marketing 101. Who's your customer? The high paying customer who's looking for you. Where do they go? Where do they go? Where do they go before they buy? And let's figure out how we can pay to get in front of them. And that's what the marketing calendar becomes extraordinarily valuable when you do that. Does that make sense? Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
I mean, I would never have thought of any of those options.
You know how I thought of those? I spoke to the customers.
Okay.
I know this is but it's amazing how many people, when I ask them about what's their client's number one problem, they'll say something, and I say, how do you know? And have you ever asked your customers? And usually it gets really quiet on the other end of the line. And the point is, you have to interview your customers. You have to talk to your customers. And then almost always when I say that, the next thing that I get is, can I send out a survey? And I just say, look, skip the survey, talk to your customers. And I don't mean have a conversation with them. I mean, have 10 questions about ask your customer and ask them all the same thing. So start with your highest paying customers and ask them, what's your biggest challenge? Where do you go to find information to solve your biggest problem? What's your biggest pain and fear and frustration and want and aspiration? And when you ask 10 high-paying clients all the same questions over, you will start to see patterns, and the money's in the patterns. So, you know, when I had the client that I mentioned who works with men, we looked at his top 10 highest paying clients, and 9 of them golfed. So it was sort of a no-brainer. It's like, well, why don't we look at sponsoring a golf event and golf club, reach out to the golf courses and ask them if we can sponsor a lunch and have them market to their own members. And that's media buying. It's just a non-traditional way to do media buying. You're paying somebody to get in front of their customers, just like you would pay to speak at an event. I pay to speak at events all the time because that's where my customers are. Make sense?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Good. Well, hopefully you can see I love this stuff. I get really enthusiastic. I love to teach. I love to talk about it. And, you know, again, even though we're a high-end kind of boutique agency, there are some people who aren't quite at our level yet who feel free to, I'm happy to talk to you. I'm happy to do a little bit of brainstorming. And there are a lot of things, like the number one thing that I would do, I mentioned Node, one of my clients, is Apeiron, and this is Dr. Daniel Stickler. They have, I'm almost there. They have, it's a little farther than I thought. Here we go. Okay, so this is a company that does epigenetics tests. They do a genetics test and an epigenetics reading. By far the fastest, easiest way for a naturopath to get high-paying health coaching clients is to offer an epigenetics test. You can offer an epigenetics test for plus a reading from you for $400. So you could sponsor, for example, that golf example, or let's say it's an anti-aging conference, or let's say it's a tennis show of some kind or a tennis club, and you do a talk on health and wellness, and you say, hey, for anybody who is interested, we can do a genetics test, and the genetics test will come from Apeiron, and we can we'll do a read with you. So here, let me just give you an example. We just did this with Dr. Keisha, like I mentioned. So she offered a epigenetics test. So she does this for $695. It's an epigenetics test with a 1-hour read from her. And we did one webinar, and we sold 22 of these just like, I think it was a week and a half ago. And it was all because she's an autoimmune specialist. It was all people who showed up to her autoimmune webinar, and we sold this. And so this is a very low price way to get a new client. And it's all online too. It's all virtual. Nobody needs to go and see her in person. Where they Apeiron mails out a kit. They do the cheek swab. It comes back, and now she can do a read with them. And now she's got an hour to an hour and a half with the client, going over their genetics, telling them specifically what to do, and now has the opportunity to make an offer for her $24,000 health coaching program. And if that ends up being too high end for that particular customer, she can downsell them to a $5,000 health coaching package that's maybe only, a much shorter period of time instead of 12 months. So that's the kind of thing where this works unbelievably well if you're a doctor and you want to get high-paying health coaching clients and you're not at the $10,000 a month level. This is something you can get a certification through Apeiron at about I want to say it's maybe $4,000 kind of range. And now you can start not only selling the kits, and I know there's other places to sell the kits, but the key is the reading, because it's the reading that's where the magic is. It's the magic for you to deliver services to your client, as well as the report itself that allows you to deliver some great information and upsell a client. You know, maybe you sell supplements, maybe you have some low price weight loss programs, and maybe you want to start upselling a $12,000 or $18,000, $24,000 high-end health coaching client. And the beautiful thing is it's all online. So hopefully that gives you one good example.
Yeah, great. Thank you so much, Bret, for kind of unlocking the vault of marketing to high-end coaching clients. That's great.
The pleasure's all mine. Yeah, thank you so much for having us. So again, if you want to have a conversation, head over to attractcustomersnow.com, book a consultation, and I'd love to chat with you. So with that, thank you so much, Node, for having me. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Bret.
All right. Namaste.
All right. We're done?